Namaste.
Welcome to our yin practice. A pleasure to be here with you. We will be continuing our journey into the spring season in traditional Chinese medicine. The spring season actually starts in the Chinese New Year, which is in February. So I appreciate that for some of you in the Northeast, it might not seem like spring. Nevertheless, we are making the transition from the winter season into the rebirth of spring. And you may not be surprised when I tell you the climate associated with spring is wind. So depending where you are, you might really appreciate that climate. Today's practice will be a grounding practice to reaffirm our connection. Good morning, welcome. So when we continue opening up the liver and the gallbladder meridians, which are the organs associated with the spring season, you'll feel a wonderful opening, hips, lower back, inseam of the legs, side body. But you might be interested to know these meridians also run through the eye. They run through the temples, the temporal bones. So to start practice today, I thought it might be beneficial to smooth out the eyes, the temporal mandibular joint, where we often hold so much tension, to try to ease us into letting go, into the support beneath us. A whole yin practice is about letting go in order for the body to open up, in order for the mind to release. So before you lay back on your mat, I will start laying back today. If you have a bolster, you're going to put the bolster just to the left side of your setup, of your mat, or if you're on the floor. If you don't have a bolster, put your, and you're using a firm pillow, then put your pillow to the side, put a couple blocks to the side, put a rolled up blanket to the side. Eventually, you'll be propping your knee on this prop. So I don't want you to worry. This isn't a static practice. We can always readjust. We're going to begin in Shavasana. We're going to begin completely letting go. This prop is just for standby. Okay, we can certainly adjust later. And before you lay down, if there's extra light in your room that's shining on your face, go ahead and turn that off. I love sunlight too, but for our purposes today, you might want to just have it a little dimmer in your space. Just a suggestion. And then join me back on your mat. Oh, I did want to mention, when you think of how the liver governs the eyes as well as different body parts, you can think of jaundice. It's really interesting when you start thinking about traditional Chinese medicine and how they correlate the organs to different diseases of the body. Finding yourself laying back, beginning to feel the support beneath you, the parts of the body that are making contact on the mat, back of the skull, heels. Unhinge your back jaw. Try to pay attention to creating space between the back molars. Giving release to the masseter muscles that hold the mandible to the skull, the mandibular joint. And feel the descend of the jaw. Feel the tongue resting, the tongue descending. And take your middle finger, the first and second pads, and find the temples, the groove on the sides of your eyes, the sides of your face. You usually get, if you ever have a massage, it's a really good feeling. And you're going to give light to medium pressure and begin exploring that indentation. And exploring around the groove within the temporal bone, slow. Can you imagine getting up in the middle of the night when it's complete darkness? You're walking to the kitchen, let's say, and you're not thinking about how to get there. You're feeling your way so you don't trip over furniture. That's how you want to approach this. Don't think about what you're doing, but feel, sense. Is there any tenderness between the right and left side? Any differences? As you explore, perhaps a little deeper, wider, narrower. You're changing directions. There's no right or wrong way. Could you feel a deeper release in those masseter muscles, knowing this is all connected? And as you continue for a few more breaths, begin to soften eyes. Maybe eyeballs feel a little jumpy. There's no force, just notice. And then gently releasing, rub your palms together. It doesn't have to be a furious rub, just bringing a little bit of heat. And then place the base or the heels of your palms right on the top of your eyes, your eyelids. So the heels of the palms are pretty much blacking out the eyes. We'd like it to be all black, probably some lights peeking in. It's fine. But hold the hands there. Let the hands feel weighted, sinking. Begin to let the eyes soften more. Allow the eyes in this position to gaze downward, down the bridge of your nose. Can you notice any sensation in the base of your palm. You may or may not, any little pulsations of the eyes. And thinking of the saying, we have eyes in the back of the head, could you feel this softening all the way back to where your skull is resting on the mat, softening all the way back to the optic nerves? Easing, easing. Resting your arms now beside you, shoulders heavy, backs of the upper arms, elbows, lower arms, backs of palms heavy. Feel the skin under the bridge of your nose very soft. And feel the skin under your eyebrows soft, especially the medial eyebrow, right about where your arch is, soft. And now the space between the eyebrow, the indentation, our inner eye, third eye, this space expanding. And the felt sense of looking inward. The actual eyes gaze down the bridge of the nose. And the inner eye descends towards the lower belly, maybe 3 inches below the navel center. Sensing the gentle rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. Inhaling 1, 2, 3. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Each exhale, more aware of the grounding, the heavy leg bones sinking, the buttocks releasing, the connection of the tailbone, the sacrum. Bring your awareness one more time back to the jaw in a very subtle toggle from left to right. Maybe it's 3 to 4 degrees off the midline. And then allowing the jaw to descend once again. finally place your palms on your lower belly, just about 3 inches below the navel center. In Taoist practice, in the martial arts, this is your anatomical center, this is your energetic center, Dan Tian. This is the field of fluid awareness. So while you're feeling the steadiness of the pelvic floor, and notice if you do feel the symmetry from left to right. Follow breath, follow the rhythm of breath breathing you. No changes to be made. What do you feel against the pads of your fingers? The gentle sensations from the rhythms of the body. These deep connections within as you give over. And you need that deep seeing, which comes through softening. So discern what's going on, how you arrive to the mat, how you're feeling. What you might like to get out of practice this morning. Perhaps an intention pops up. Perhaps an intention pops up for someone else. Wishing them the stability and the openness from practice. Take one last breath here. Eyes gazing down the bridge of the nose. Inner eye connected to the rhythms of the body, the breath, the heartbeat. And then slowly draw your right knee into the body, elongating the left leg from the sit bone. So you could imagine the sit bone grounding the left sit bone and lengthening. So look towards your prop. Let your right arm unfurl out to a T formation. If that's uncomfortable, just lower the right arm towards your hip. The left hand is going to help the right knee cross over the body. The right knee and shin want to be propped enough so that your right shoulder can stay planted. So we're in a spinal twist that's supported. So you might need maybe to put a blanket on top of your prop, maybe a couple blocks under your bolster. Once you feel steady, you can release your left arm out to the side. Shoulders need to be planted. If it feels comfortable with the head neutral, allow the eyes to gaze downward, down the bridge of the nose. Keep the eyes closed. Or you could have them with a heavy eyelid. If it feels okay to dip the head over the right shoulder, could you imagine looking down your right armpit as if you've got a new tattoo, temporary, of course, around your right and around your first and second rib? So just the top of the side body, you're gazing down. Oh, who am I to say? Maybe it's permanent. Good for you. So we're gazing down, soft, soft, soft. A little deeper sensation, if you'd like, you can bend your right elbow coming into a cactus arm. Discern, how does that affect your shoulder? If it's too much, keep that arm to a T. That's what the practice is all about. How does it feel in the moment? The moment keeps changing. Sense a heaviness in the lower back. Heavy in the left hip, in the left buttock. And then begin to let the right hip and buttock feel supported by what's underneath it, as your right leg is supported by the bolster. There's no need for holding. Take one more breath. Guiding your shoulders, arms, hands into the floor, lift your right knee and step your right foot on the mat. Bend your left knee, step your left foot on the mat. Heel toe your feet together. Open up your knees for butterfly with the soles of the feet together. So you have the option, if you have a bolster, to slide right underneath, and you can prop your knees, or you can use blocks on either side of the knees. So I'm showing prop options because we're honing a grounding practice today. You don't have to use props, but you want to feel stabilized in the hips, in the lower back. So if you're not feeling that way, use the props. After the asymmetrical spinal twist, feel the symmetry brought back through butterfly in the hips and the lower back. Arms can rest out to the side. If you wanted some deeper sensation throughout the side body, you can bring the arms a little bit up over your head with bent elbows like cactus arms. Eyes are soft. They gaze downward. They gaze towards 6 o'clock. Jaw descends. Pay attention to the Dantian, the field of fluid awareness. Trust the ground beneath you. Allow it to hold you as the groin softens. What if you let gravity take hold without force? Allow the weight of your body to just be. Keep space between the back molars. Take one more breath. Use your palms to help the knees come back together. Slide the legs long. Drop in. Drop in. Notice what you're feeling. Tingling sensations, warming, a difference between right and left side. Slowly bring the legs together. Inhale your arms above your head. That's uncomfortable for your shoulders today. Keep the arms out really wide or even down by your sides and see how it goes. We're going to invite the shoulders, arms, and hands over to the left corner of your mat or your space, and then walk the heels over to the left corner. So we're making a banana shape out of our bodies. When you feel enough sensation, take your left ankle and cross it over your right. So we're grounding down. Can you imagine a sandbag laying on top of your upper right thigh, more towards the outside edge of your thigh and upper buttock, sinking your right hip back? And then if it feels okay, you can grab onto your right wrist for a gentle tug. But if that right shoulder pops up off the floor, release. We want the grounding, shoulders, hips. With the nose parallel to the ceiling, dip your left ear to the left shoulder. Continue to let the eyes gaze downward, down the bridge of the nose. Jaw descends. Breathe deeply into the lobes of your lung. The right lung has 3 lobes, lower, middle, upper. If you're ever at a point in this posture that you feel you need more sensation, you could uncross your left ankle, move your right ankle a bit more to the left, and then recross. It's all about discerning where you are, because there could be a point where you're feeling that IT band that runs from your hip down your thigh to your knee, and that's getting plenty of stretch, maybe even too much, and you want to keep the ankles uncrossed. Where are you? Perhaps you can feel the stretch, the right quadrant beside your navel center on the trunk of your body, elongating. Begin uncrossing, releasing, walking your feet back to center. Slowly waterfall your arms down by your side. Take a moment. Notice this opening series has all been on the right side. How does that feel? And step your feet on the mat. Draw your knees into the body. You have an option here as we move towards stirrup or happy baby. You can grab onto your ankles. Let the knees split. And the tailbone will lift as you gently draw in, shoulders relax. Or if you'd like, if it's in your practice, you can grab hold of the big toe side of your feet and encourage the knees towards your armpits. Shoulders relax. In either variation, the tailbone is fine to lift off the mat. We're bringing symmetry back to the base of the body once again after the asymmetrical half moon. Also a hip opener. So in either, if you're holding ankles, you could even, if today is a day that just feeling a little tight, you could just hug in. That's fine too. Lengthen out the back side of your head. Perhaps imagining that you have the same markings as a raccoon and you have a band that travels around your eyes all the way around the back of your head, and soften, reminding that we want to keep the optic nerve more towards the center and back of the head at ease as well. Be aware of the space between the back molars. It's not always easy to remember to keep that release, which is why we started softening out the temporal bone, the mandibular joint. And keep the facial skin soft. Take 2 more breaths. Wherever you're holding, release. Help the knees together. Hug. Eyes gazing towards 6 o'clock. Gently step your feet on the mat. Slide the legs long. Drop in. Drop, drop, drop. Back of the head heavy. Heels heavy. Sit bones grounded. Without moving around too much, you want to place your prop to the outside of your right hip as we prepare for the second side. So remember, you can always adjust. And when you're ready, hug your left knee into the body and lengthen from your right sit bone to the space in front of you. Let the left arm unfurl out to a T formation or lower if that's better for your shoulder, closer to your hip. And then help the left knee cross over the body. Let that left knee and as much as your shin rest on your prop. And then you can let the right arm release. If it's better for you, head neutral, eyes gaze down the bridge of the nose towards 6 o'clock. It's okay. You can turn the head to the left and we'll gaze down the armpit towards the side body around your first, second, third rib. Looking at that tattoo. Eyes currently closed or heavy shades, heavy lids. And as you give yourself over more and more, if you'd like, you can bend the left arm for a little bit more sensation, but want the left shoulder planted. The shoulders need to be planted. They need grounding. And then feel the heaviness in your lower back, right hip, giving over. And with that support, then the left hip is able to rest and the left leg able to give over to its support. As you take a last breath, notice any changes that have occurred since we first came into the posture. Using the strength of your shoulders, arms, and hands, gently lift the left knee, step your left foot on the mat, bend the right knee and step your right foot on the mat. Heel toe the feet together. The heels are a good distance away from your groin and will open up the knees for butterfly on this side. Once again, if you'd like to prop, you can slide that bolster if you have one right underneath, or you can use your blanket underneath, or your blocks on either side of your knees. For this butterfly, let's bring our palms back to our center, Dantian, this underground reservoir, if you will. Let the inner focus be there. Let your eyes gaze downward. Allow breath just to flow naturally at your own pace. What do you sense? Feeling the stability against the sacrum, the tailbone, allowing the hips to open. Feel the deeper hums and pulses within against your fingertips, against the pads of your fingers and the palm. Your center. Jaw descends. Shoulders at ease. Slowly begin sliding your palms down to the outside of your thighs and helping the knees together. Take a moment, stepping your feet on the mat, knees at the ceiling, and then slide the legs long. Drop. Drop into the support beneath you. Begin inhaling your arms above your head and walk your shoulders, arms, and hands to the right as far as feels comfortable. And then invite your heels to the right. as we balance out with a lateral stretch on the left side. Cross your right ankle over your left as we ground. You can now imagine that sandbag resting on the top of your left thigh, moving the left skin away from the femur bone and towards the earth, sinking the left buttock and the left hip. And if it's in your practice, you can grab hold of the left arm, the left wrist. Make sure that left shoulder is grounded. So if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. Nose is parallel at the ceiling, and dip the right ear towards the right shoulder so that your neck is mimicking the arc of the body. Allow the eyes to gaze down the bridge of the nose as if they're looking towards 6 p.m. on a clock. How does this side feel? Breathe deeply into the lobes of your left lung. The left lung has 2 lobes because the heart is located a little more to the left side of your body. Can you feel the elongation in the skin beside the navel on the front left of your torso? The elongation in your waist. Be mindful of the space in the back molars. How often tension creeps in. Let it go. Exhale it into the support beneath you. Releasing wrists, uncrossing ankles. Walk yourself back to center. Float the arms down by your side. Notice how the body feels after we've now run the sequence on the second side, the left side. Bend your knees. Heel toe your feet almost mat width apart or wider than your hips. Slowly windshield wiper your knees side to side. Slowly. Does it feel different as you go to the right than the left? Does the body feel open in the hips and the lower back? Come back to center and heel toe the feet together. Hug in. Lower your feet and roll to the side. Let your arm come out long It doesn't matter which arm, and rest your head on the arm. Just putting some nice pressure along the temporal bone and the mandibular joint, no matter which side you're on. Can you just release the side of your head into your arm for a moment? Melt, 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 melt. Let the jaw hang. And the hand that's free is pressing into the floor to bring you up to a seated posture. So keep your props handy. We're going to come into a forward fold, which hopefully we've done enough opening with the hips and lower back, should feel good. However, we'll keep the props handy in case the lower back feels a little tight or the hamstrings feel tight. Pardon me, we'll start with the legs out long. So having a little lift helps come forward of the sit bones. You don't have to have it. You just give a little press forward. But when you do sit on the lift, you'll feel yourself moving forward of your sit bones, and it gives you that lift of the last 3 bones in your spinal column, L3, L4, L5. We want that. Legs are relaxed and out long. So right now, if you know, I'm not feeling so open yet, put a rolled blanket, a pillow, a bolster underneath your knees. And take a deep breath in using the length we created. And on the exhale, fold over the body. So the fold can actually stay right at your fingertips. Eyes are soft. The shoulders are rounded. And going back to the imagery of finding our way at night in a dark house, let go of thought. Use the senses here. Find your breath within the back body, the back heart, within your shoulder blades. Could you expand breath there? Imagine your thigh bones are moving towards the groin, towards your body, towards the space behind you. And as you exhale, the top half of your body is moving towards your toes. Take 2 more breaths. Using the strength of your hands, walk yourself back to an upright position, and then walk your hands behind you a little wider than your shoulders. Your fingers can point any direction, but you want to press it to your whole hand, palms, all the fingers, all the thumbs, and lift the sternum up to the ceiling. It's a counter stretch. If it doesn't feel good, you can just hug your knees in, just like this. And then relax. Great. Now we're going to cross the right knee over the left. You're welcome to continue sitting on a little perch. You don't have to. This is half shoelace. So you want to keep both sit bones planted. If it's in your practice where you can bend your left foot and you want to bring your heels close to your bottom, you're not sitting on your heels, and you can still feel your sit bones planted and you're not like this, then you can go into full shoelace. One is not better than the other. What's important is your alignment. So I'm going to keep my leg out long for this one. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, bring your hands forward and hinge over as far as feels comfortable for you. You're welcome to use props if you'd like to. If you have a bolster, sometimes it's nice to rest your forehead. Shoelace is inherently known as a hip opener, that if you're in half shoelace, sometimes you can certainly feel it opening up the dorsal sheath, the back of the extended leg. Soften eyes. They're gazing downward towards 6 o'clock. Take 2 more breaths. Using the strength of your hands, slowly begin walking yourself back to an upright position. Uncross your legs. And we're going to take our legs wide. If you have a bolster and blocks or a big pillow and blocks, I would recommend trying this. It's a really nice way to ground the body. So you stack your bolster diagonally, and you can place your blocks. Sometimes you can make like a step like this. You might need to make it higher or lower, but let me just show you. So when you come into dragonfly, you're resting your body. So if you want to make it a little higher, no. And you turn your head to one side. So what's nice about this is when you're focusing on the eyes, we're putting that massage again on TMJ, the temporal mandibular joint. But certainly you don't have to use any props. Or if you're a little deeper in practice, well, you can just come down there. You could stay up here. So we're going to sit up tall. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, hinge forward. The legs are completely relaxed. If you're still feeling a little tight in the hamstrings, you can use blocks under your knees, or you could just bend the knees and feel grounded in the heels. If you're able to use this setup, I'll let you know when to turn the head. And it's times like these, I can't wait to get you back in the studio. Big purple bolster. Try to have the grounding not only of your legs into the floor, but if you're resting on a prop, really give your chest over and the side of your head. And if you are resting on that prop, gently lift your head and turn it to the other side. And melt the side of your head into the support beneath you. Feel the ease of the masseter muscles. Feel the brain floating inside the skull. As we move into the final moments of the hold, have you felt a difference in the inseam of your legs and the groin? Sensations changing, the fascia releases. Using the strength of your hands, your fingertips, walk yourself back up to a tall seat. Remove props if they're in front of you. Slide your legs back together and we'll finish the series on the other side of shoelace, crossing the left knee over the right. So find your samasthiti, your even steady in the sit bones. You're welcome to keep the right leg out long, or if it's in your practice, bend the heel by the buttock. It might be a little different on this side, you never know. Sit up tall, and on the exhale, coming forward. And you're welcome to use props in front of you. So if you do, and you're resting your forehead on a block, rest the third eye, rest the indentation between the eyebrows, the inner eye, the softening. And allow that softening to ease through the orbital sockets, allowing the eyes themselves to float within, and from the orbital socket, allow the cheekbones to feel very light. From the cheekbones, allow the ears to feel loose, floppy. And let this easing, this letting go, reaffirm your sense of center and grounding in the posture. All of a sudden, there's no need to force. The more you can ease and give over, the more release comes into the support beneath you, the more connected you feel to your center, to your steadiness. Let's take one more breath. And using the strength of your palms, bring yourself to an upright position. Take your feet so they're on the mat, the knees are bent, and scoot your bottom forward. Come down onto your forearms, so your elbows and your forearms are propping you up, and then slide the legs long so we can come into hammock. This way we're neutralizing the hips, the pelvic floor. Spine is suspended like a hammock. And the elbows and forearms and palms are holding you up. Taking a couple moments to absorb that last sequence, noticing how you feel left to right. Use the strength of the elbows, forearms, and palms to press you up. And before we come into final relaxation, you might enjoy folding your blanket into a long rectangle and folding it in thirds, placing it on the middle of your mat, long ways. If you have a bolster or another blanket, place it on what you're going to consider where your legs are on the mat. So this isn't a have to. I'm just going to show you. And by the way, if you're going to put clothes back on, you'll do this before you get settled. So you want to be warm. So another blanket or pillow would go underneath your knees, and this long blanket is going to trace the spine. The blanket shouldn't be too bulky, just giving you a little opening. If there's some extra material of the blanket that you can fold under to give you a little more propping on the back of your skull. See how that feels. If that's not for you, just readjust. Really wanted to give you a sense of softness in the back of the head. So the sphenoid bone, it's called the butterfly bone in Chinese practice often because it looks like a butterfly bone in our head. That's where the optic nerve ends, and it's also has another a cool, I think, meaning in yoga. So at the sphenoid bone, where you're pressing in the back, is known as the fourth eye. An even deeper inner seeing in practice. And so when we cushion back there, it's a way of really bringing calm into the body. So if you could start your final relaxation, whether you're on the blanket or not, by soothing in the back side of your head, with the eyes in the back of the head, if you will. And then bringing that easing around to the front side and softening through the eye sockets, letting the eyes now melt back towards the inner skull. And allow the space once again between the eyebrows to expand. Feel a sense of radiant light expanding here, warm, radiant light that smooths out the forehead, that smooths out the skin on the temples, that warms and smooths out the skin on the cheeks, on the jaw, that allows for release throughout the mandible, gently parts the lips and teeth. From that third eye, the warmth and radiant space expands throughout the skull. Skin on the scalp completely releases. Even the hair follicles, there's complete ease, complete release. Sense your entire body, shoulders, arms, hands, the torso, heavy, giving over into the support beneath you. Sense the belly, the buttocks, the hips, heavy, at ease, completely releasing into the support beneath you. And sense the legs, thighs, knees, shins, calves, ankles, feet, toes, at ease, relaxed, giving over to the support beneath you. The whole body, top to bottom, side to side, front to back. Relaxed. Giving over to the support beneath you. The leader who is centered and grounded can work with erratic people and critical group situations without harm. Being centered means having the ability to recover one's balance, even in the midst of action. A centered person is not subject to passing whims or sudden excitements. Being grounded means being down to earth, having gravity or weight. I know where I stand, and I know what I stand for. That is ground. The centered and grounded leader has stability and a sense of self. Deepening your breath. Beginning to wake up the physical body as you keep Lao Tzu's words in mind. You know where you stand. You know who you are. You'll take that with you off of the mat today. And keep it close in the days and nights to come. When you are ready, slowly bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated posture. We'll end class together, sitting up tall. Keep soft eyes. Keep a relaxed jaw. Feeling the support beneath you. Bring your arms out to the side. We'll bring arms around us, gathering the work we did and sealing it within. Wishing you and all beings peace, health, and happiness. Namaste.